Okay, so I had to run it back real quick. Lego Transformers Bumblebee Movie Soundwave version 3.
Huh?
Let's see what happened here.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
Soundwave acknowledges.
Yo, what's going on, guys? It's your boy Say here. Let's get right into it.
That's a boss.
See, now you know it's really advanced when I start getting ugly with it. Like, bro, if I drop the "that's advanced" line and I'm not ugly with it, it's not that advanced. Because the truly advanced techniques turn me ugly instantly. I'ma just keep it a buck with you. Okay, now let's get right into it. My boy Soundwave here is coming in at about 8 inches tall from head to toe, and I actually do have some free instructions available over on my Rebrickable page. Now those instructions that are available over there are the instructions to a non-transformable display version of this Soundwave's robot mode. And the instructions for the Ravage model here are actually sold separately because, believe it or not, this is a year-old Ravage model right here. This is actually the same Ravage model that I used and displayed with my version 1 Bumblebee Movie Soundwave.
Oh.
So if you want a full review on just the Ravage model here, you can check out my Bumblebee Movie Soundwave version 1 video. Now I know what you're thinking. Say, I see you got the Bumblebee Movie Ravage on deck, but does he fold up and fit inside Soundwave's chest like he's supposed to? Because he looking a little too big to fit up inside that chest, bruh.
Bro, I'm not even gonna hold you. He don't fit inside the chest though.
Bruh.
Nah, hold up though. Can you give me a second? Can you give me a second?
See, what had happened was I actually liked the Ravage that I did for that version 1 Soundwave because it was built at a larger scale and I was able to incorporate a lot more details into it because of that. So we don't have a Bumblebee Movie Ravage that fits inside Soundwave's chest, but we do have a newly designed full-blown laser beak hiding up in there.
Hey, yo!
Thought you caught me slipping.
Now they thought they caught you lacking, bro.
Now subscribe.
Now, there's really not much to the laser beak transformation. He pretty much just stores inside Soundwave's chest like this. And then once you pop him out, what you're gonna do is fold out the wings here. Everything is attached via 1x1 clip pieces and bar pieces or 1x2 round plates. So everything kind of just rotates along a singular joint. And once you fold out all of those pieces, you end up with a mini Bumblebee Movie laser beak. Now, since mine transforms into a little box that can store inside of Soundwave's chest here, it's not 100% movie accurate, but it still is pretty accurate and really cool looking, especially since it's so small that Soundwave can actually hold it within his hand. Now, just on a quick side note, if you are interested in having me build and review your favorite Lego Transformers or Lego mechs on the channel here, consider becoming a Super Say. The membership link for that is in the description. And when you become a member, you also get access to all of my build instructions for my non-transformable mocks and transformable ones when I do them in the future. Oh, and speaking of transformable mocks, let's take a gander at this Soundwave's vehicle mode real quick. Okay, and here we have Soundwave back in his Cybertronian tank mode, or at least that's what the lore says this vehicle mode is supposed to be, because honestly, taking a quick look at this thing, this doesn't really look like anything. And if it hadn't been for reading that this is actually a tank over a year ago, I would have assumed that this is just supposed to be a Cybertronian hovercraft or spacecraft of some kind. Now, as I mentioned before, the instructions to the version that I have uploaded online are to a non-transformable version of Soundwave. So I know some of you guys might be thinking, say, why didn't you just do the instructions to the transformable one that you have right here? And initially, that was the plan. I actually did make instructions to a transformable version of Soundwave, but it was a customized version of Bumblebee Movie Soundwave that transformed into a villainous Cybertronian spacecraft. But unfortunately, a large minority of the audience wasn't really jiving with it, and I kind of see why. I was going for an evil, villainous spaceship type thing, which really doesn't fit inside the Transformer universe. So I left the head exposed to kind of give it like this Eggman spaceship type vibe. But yeah, like I said, people weren't really vibing with it, so I just changed the alt mode back to the original Cybertronian tank design. So it was easy to change it in real life with the real Lego pieces, but I had already done the instructions for the other version, and if you guys are familiar with how the Lego Designer Studio works, once you build something in a certain way, you can't really backtrack after a certain point. You kind of just have to redo the entire thing within the studio, depending on how complex it is. So I said, okay, you know what? I don't want to spend another 15 hours redoing these instructions within the studio. So I'll just remove all the pieces that made it transform, which took about an hour. And I'll just have a nice set of instructions for the really cool looking robot mode, which everyone likes a lot more than the vehicle mode anyway. Like, I'm pretty sure most people would rather display Soundwave's robot mode than display him in his Cybertronian tank mode. Now, as far as articulation goes for the robot mode, the legs and hips are kind of on a swivel clip-based system that I've devised, which I really want to fix so that I don't have to keep using this system for every build. So what you have to do is move the clips in and out to allow for more articulation of the legs. So when they're inward, it stops the legs from preventing Soundwave's body from falling forward. And then when you swivel them out, it'll allow you to move the legs forward and back. And I'm just gonna warn you guys now, the black base plate included within the instructions is there for a reason. So make sure Soundwave's feet are planted down on the base plate, or at least make sure the bottom of the feet are angled in such a way that they can catch the upward facing studs, because the legs tend to slide out because they're on ball joints here. So if he's not planted or at least angled in such a way that a studded surface can stop his feet from spreading like that, he's gonna start doing splits.
Oh, hell no!
But as far as the articulation in the upper body goes, really solid. I have a ball joint implanted within the hips here, so he can actually rotate his upper body almost 360. I've also got his shoulders connected by Technic rotational joints here, so they're really stable and can lock in position after every movement. He's also got a good amount of articulation in the biceps here, as I used some pneumatic bars and 1x2 round plates. And then as for the forearm and hands, we've got some articulation in there as well, and we can't forget about the fingers, of course. Lastly, we've got some articulation within the shoulder cannon here, as it is attached by a rotational joint, and we've got the same thing going for the head here, which is attached by a rotational joint at the base of the neck. And just on another quick side note, before we get into the improvements with this version here,
We got the merch.
so for those of you guys interested in purchasing some Say merch, we got sweaters, hoodies, shirts, and mugs on deck. So the link to that shop will be in the description as well.
Nice.
Now, y'all gotta remember, the version 1 was done over a year ago. So we got improvements for days with this version 3 right here. First off, we've got a way better looking head sculpt here, especially with the usage of that 35 or 45 degree double slope plate here, because it almost perfectly simulates Soundwave's face mask from the movie. Secondly, since then I've got my hands on some purple pieces, so I was able to actually add the purple corner plate right here to represent the Decepticon logo on the front of Soundwave's chest. And speaking of the chest again, it actually opens now, which wasn't possible with that version 1, and we've got a laser beak that can store inside. You see, stuff like this, it just wasn't heard of on this channel a year ago, okay? It just wasn't. Now, the version 1 did actually have the handgun and the shoulder cannon, but what it didn't have was the blast effects. So, you know what, we're gonna add another point for that too. You know, it's only fair. And then lastly, we got some better kibble management on this version as well. Not that the version 1's kibble management was horrendous, but this one is just more compact and flat looking compared to that previous version. Now, this Soundwave took me about 15 hours to build, and the hardest part was definitely getting that ravage to fit inside the chest and just designing the door flap to open up into a hollow space inside of Soundwave's chest. See, because the thing is, it's actually easy to get the door open, but the hard part is getting the door to open into a hollow space inside Soundwave's chest without compromising the integrity of the upper bodies. Now, if you guys are interested in seeing another version of Lego Transformers Soundwave, I'll leave the link to my Dark of the Moon Soundwave build at the end of this video.